Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Brawl Out. This is your Captain Ron Johnson. And do you love controversy? Because I know I sure as hell do. And let me tell you something about controversy. When it hits hard. And was never more evident than pretty much what happened a couple of nights ago at Duke University between two certain WCC Brawl superstars. But that's neither here nor there. Congratulations is in order because, yes, we have been a little bit out and about, but that's because of the fact that when you spend 2 weeks with your leg propped up in a damn hospital bed, you don't really have much of a chance to do much of anything else. But we are back, we are loud, and we are proud. As you can tell, we are rocking our hometown colors as the Redbirds look to try to take a one-game sit-on lead tonight here in St. Louis, Missouri, as they game one of the NLCS against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Sorry, LSC Benetico, you know me, you were going to be battling for this anyway. What that basically comes down to is that simply this. We have 2 new champions. Well, shockingly enough, we actually have had 2.5 new champions because Big Maxwell Verdi got the job done against Ziana back at, shockingly enough, just a couple of weeks ago at a pay-per-view that I will keep nameless because, quite frankly, that pay-per-view was just insanely demented. Do I dare continue? It was downright crazy. That pay-per-view was. But it was probably nothing compared to Behind Enemy Lines in Moscow. Because Behind Enemy Lines probably was the one that basically left the world breathless. And why, do you ask? Because it was in Moscow, it was in Russia. It was the first time a pay-per-view actually been played and hosted in Moscow in a very long time. And it would definitely left up to the hype. We saw the reincarnation of Ziana as she once again reclaimed the Cruiserweight Championship. And on top of that, we also saw the arrival, the debut of the WCC International Championship and Omega King, the last man to hoist the WCC Television Championship. That thing now sits pretty much on his mantle, I'm pretty sure. But the bottom line is that we have a new international champion, and I'm pretty sure the war between T5 and the Great Tate is just getting warmed up. Should provide a lot of fun for everybody. Now, I don't want to be sitting here going on and on and on about everything that has transpired so far, but I will say this much. The hits just keep on coming. There's now a huge battle line drawn between basically if you're with the Dark Alliance or you're not with the Dark Alliance. And 2 of the men involved in that big giant fiasco happens to be the chaotic trickster, Brandon Doolin, and former retired WCC champion Omega King, who have been basically jaw-jacking back and forth over the past few weeks, and it's only pretty much on a collision course for the huge epic pay-per-view coming up in a couple of weeks. But it gets better because of the fact that now there's a new player into this mix. Mr. Jones, who basically made it sound like he was joining the Alliance, then it turns out that he wasn't joining the Alliance, then it turns out he was joining the Alliance, then it turned out that he wasn't. And no, I'm not repeating myself. This is just how it's been over the last few weeks. And hopefully we'll get more answers out of Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones coming up later on this weekend. Special programming, though. WCC Throwdown was, for those of you who were expecting Throwdown last night, do not get mad. Do not pout. WCC Throwdown, due to some scheduling conflicts and with all the craziness that was going on in Charlotte last night, WCC Throwdown will be in Charlotte, North Carolina, honoring that request, pretty much of that beautiful, beautiful Bobcats Arena. And it should be a lot of fun there tomorrow night, Saturday night. If you got your tickets, don't worry, your tickets will be honored, and we'll also, as just a token of appreciation to those who stuck by it, not the first 500, not the first 1,000, but pretty much every person that fills the seats in that arena tomorrow night will be getting one of those infamous October SmackDown, Throwdown, Beatdown, Rampage on Cancer t-shirts, the beautiful pink ones, and basically, no matter what any woman says, real men do wear pink. I wear it every day on my arm, so I'm pretty much living proof of it. And what it comes down to is that it's going to a great cause. Also joining in with Suji G. Coleman's Race for the Cure. We're going to hope to sit here and try to see all you guys there tomorrow night. Now, this brings us back to the original meaning of today. As I said earlier at WCC Brawl just last night, there was some footage that actually caught 2 members of the WCC Brawl roster. 2 people you never expect to be actually caught in that kind of a compromised position where these 2 would be lip locking. That's right, these 2 were lip locking, making out swapping bodily fluids. It's changing DNA, tongue wrestling, or as it's being called around here, tongue wrestling, prelude to bumping uglies, whatever you want to call it. It happened at a house show at Duke University. Unfortunately, our boss, Richard Banks, and his esteemed, very hormonal pregnant wife, Rebecca Banks, informed us that we cannot exactly show the footage, but we can tell you for a fact that it is not who you think it is. I will give you this much of a bombshell. It involves a very, very, very controversial female member of the WCC roster. And it involves a member of the Darkness, the Dark Alliance. Yes, I will tell you that much. It involves a member of the Dark Alliance, and it also involves someone who you would never think in your wildest dreams would be caught with this guy, no less. So, bottom line, that's about as much info as I can give you. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk to both of them next week when basically we meet back up with these guys. For anybody who's pretty much waiting for the return of El Cibernetico, Mr. Dodger himself is planning his infamous return at the big November pay-per-view that's coming up in just a little over a month. And if I'm not mistaken, he will be battling the Canadian Iceman in Iceman's retirement match, supposedly. We don't know if this is true. The guy's pretty much, last I've heard, he's retired about 750 times. This will be 751, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we do know that while all this is going on, in shocking fashion, we do know that El Cibernetico, while in Mexico, has indeed taken his time out of his busy schedule helping the Luchadors down in Mexico to make an appearance at Busch Stadium, which will happen tomorrow. We will have pretty much the footage of that will be up and live. He went to Busch Stadium alongside St. Louis natives, Omega King, and Big Ticket Jason Bradley. Now, this is the biggest thing. You have to basically remember this in mind. When we are away from the cameras, there are some of us that like each other, and there's some that hate each other. It's without question. But here's one thing that is absolute. We all seem to fight for a good cause, and that is pretty much the reason for this footage, reason for El and Paul and Omega and tickets pretty much rendezvous, so to speak, at Busch Stadium last night. So, we'll hopefully have that footage for you on next week's broadcast. We will return on our regularly scheduled day of Saturday with an all-new episode, and hopefully by the time that's all said and done, either we'll be at the cuspus of determining who will be in the World Series, or at least it'll be enough of a dogfight so that way myself, El Cibernetico, Joe, and of course Omega King don't try to sit here and beat the hell out of each other with this big giant Dodgers Cardinals series going on right now. So I'm gonna go watch the rest of this game and get myself primed and pumped and ready. If you're looking for more information on WCC Brawl, we're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're all over the place. If you didn't pay attention the first time, please pay attention when this thing is over, because you ain't seen nothing yet, and it's only just going to get better from here. So, all that being said, get ready for the madness. We'll see you guys next week for WCC Brawl Out. I am your captain, Ron Johnson, and sorry, Joe. Go Redbirds.
Guess who? You miss me? Jessica Simpson, sing the chorus.
When you walk